"Hurry up, old lady," an angry customer says, waiting in line. The laughter echoed through the grocery store like shopping carts crashing. She didn't look like much, just a frail woman in a faded coat, counting coins with trembling hands. But behind that quiet dignity was a test no one was ready for. They didn't know this wasn't just some confused elderly woman struggling with pennies. She was their worst mistake. This is Hopeful Horizon. Before we begin, drop a like and comment with where you're watching from, and hit subscribe for more powerful stories. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead as Marcus wiped down his register for what felt like the 100th time that evening. Tuesday nights at Peterson's grocery were never quiet, but tonight seemed especially chaotic. A steady stream of customers snaked around the produce section, shopping carts loaded with everything from frozen dinners to birthday party supplies. Behind him, he could hear Mr. Patterson, the store manager, muttering about efficiency and customer flow. The electronic beep of scanners filled the air as cashiers worked their way through the evening rush. Marcus had been working here for 8 months now, saving every paycheck for college applications, and maybe, if he was lucky, his first semester's books. At 17, he learned that most customers fell into predictable patterns. The business people who tapped their cards impatiently, the parents juggling crying babies and grocery lists, the teenagers who counted out crumpled bills for energy drinks and chips. But as the line grew longer, Marcus noticed someone different. An elderly woman stood about 5 customers back, clutching a small cloth purse against her chest. Her gray hair was neatly pinned back, and she wore a faded blue coat that had seen better years. What caught Marcus's attention wasn't her appearance, but the way she kept glancing nervously at the growing line behind her, then down at her purse. "Next," Marcus called out, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. When the elderly woman finally reached his register, Marcus could see her hands trembling slightly as she placed a single loaf of bread on the conveyor belt. No cart, no basket. Just one item and a purse full of what sounded like loose change. "Good evening," Marcus said with a genuine smile. "How are you doing tonight?" She looked up, surprised by the warmth in his voice. "Oh, I'm fine, dear. Just need this bread." Her voice was soft, almost apologetic. Marcus scanned the item. "That'll be $2.89. The woman opened her purse, and Marcus could see it was filled with coins. Pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters all jumbled together. She began counting them out with shaking fingers, placing each coin carefully on the counter. Behind her, Marcus heard the familiar sounds of impatience, sighs, foot tapping, the rustle of someone checking their phone. A man in a business suit cleared his throat loudly. "Are you kidding me?" he muttered to the person beside him. "Who pays with pennies anymore?" The elderly woman's hands shook more as she heard the comment. She fumbled with the coins, dropping several that rolled across the counter. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice thick with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry." Marcus reached across the counter, gently stopping her trembling hands. "Ma'am, please don't apologize. Let me help you with that." He began gathering the scattered coins, his movements calm and deliberate. "We've got all the time in the world." Mr. Patterson appeared at his shoulder, eyeing the growing line with obvious concern. But Marcus ignored the pressure, focusing entirely on the woman in front of him. He counted each coin carefully twice, making sure he got it exactly right. "You're all set, ma'am," he said, sliding the receipt across the counter. "That's perfect. Have a wonderful evening." The elderly woman looked up at Marcus with eyes that seemed to hold years of stories. For a moment, she just stared at him, as if trying to memorize his face. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she said, "Thank you, son. Nobody's ever this kind anymore." She reached across the counter and briefly touched his hand with her weathered fingers. "You have a good heart. Don't let the world change that." Marcus felt his cheeks warm slightly. "It's nothing, ma'am. Really." But she shook her head slowly. "It's everything." With that, she carefully placed the bread in her small purse, gave him one last grateful look, and walked away. Marcus watched her leave, noting how she moved slowly, but with dignity through the automatic doors and into the night. The next customer was already approaching with an armful of items, the moment forgotten in the rush of evening shoppers. Marcus went back to scanning barcodes and making small talk, The encounter with the elderly woman, just another part of what he assumed was an ordinary night. He had no idea that in her small apartment 3 blocks away, the woman was sitting at her kitchen table, writing a letter by lamplight. 3 days later, Marcus was restocking the candy display when Sarah from customer service called his name. "Marcus, there's someone here to see you." He looked up to find a man in a gray suit standing near the service desk, holding a manila envelope. The man appeared to be in his 50s, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. "Are you Marcus Chen?" the man asked. "Yes, sir, that's me." "My name is David Hartwell. I'm an attorney here in town." He extended the envelope toward Marcus. "I was asked to deliver this to you personally." Marcus wiped his hands on his apron before taking the envelope. His name was written across the front in careful cursive handwriting. "I'm sorry, but I don't understand. What is this?" Mr. Hartwell's expression softened. "I think it's better if you read it yourself, but I will say this. You made quite an impression on someone." With trembling fingers, Marcus opened the envelope and unfolded the letter inside. As he read the first few lines, his eyes widened in disbelief. "Dear Marcus, you probably don't remember me, but I could never forget you. I was the old lady who took forever to count out coins for a loaf of bread on Tuesday evening. While everyone else saw an inconvenience, you saw a person who needed help. I want you to know that I wasn't just some confused old woman counting pennies. I was testing something, testing whether kindness still existed in this world. You see, my late husband left me more comfortable than I probably appear, but I've been struggling with how to leave something meaningful behind. I've been visiting different stores, different places, watching how people respond to someone who seems to be struggling. Most people were impatient, dismissive, or simply looked through me as if I didn't exist. But you treated me with dignity when you had every reason to rush me along. I've enclosed a check for $25,000 to help with your college education. I asked the store manager about you, and he told me you've been working here to save for school. Consider this an investment in the kind of person this world needs more of. But more than the money, I want you to know that your kindness mattered. In a world that often feels cold and rushed, you took the time to see me as a human being worth your patience. That's a gift that can't be measured in dollars. Keep being who you are, Marcus. The world needs more people like you. With deep gratitude, Margaret Thompson." Marcus read the letter 3 times before the words fully sank in. His hands shook as he looked at the check clipped to the back of the letter. $25,000. Enough for his first 2 years of college, maybe more. But it wasn't the money that made his eyes fill with tears. It was the realization that what he'd thought was just another ordinary moment had meant everything to someone else. Mr. Hartwell watched patiently as Marcus processed the gift. "She passed away peacefully 2 days ago," he said gently. "But she made sure this letter was written and the arrangements were made before she went. You were one of the few people she mentioned specifically in her will." Marcus looked up, his voice thick with emotion. "I just helped her count coins. It was nothing." "Son," Mr. Hartwell said with a smile, "I think you're beginning to understand that there's no such thing as nothing when it comes to kindness." He thought he was just counting coins, but those coins counted for more than a loaf of bread. They counted for grace, for trust, for what it means to see people when the world rushes past them. If this story made you think twice about what kindness really costs, drop a comment with where you're listening from, and subscribe to Hopeful Horizon for more real stories that prove even a moment of patience can change a life. Until next time, stay kind, stay patient, and remember, the smallest moments echo the loudest. This is Hopeful Horizon, signing off.